Welcome to section 5.2, Dividing Polynomials. So first we're going to go into dividing with long division. Now let me do an example where we just do regular numbers. So say that you are dividing or have an example of say 124 divided by, let me write that, 124 divided by 2. So let me put that in terms of long division, just as how y'all did it in middle school. Alright. Now you would ask that the 2, how many times would it go into 1, which is 0, because 2 is greater than 1. So now, instead of 1, let's say 12. Then you would ask, how many times does 2 go into 12? So you would say 6 times. Then you do 6 times 2, which is 12. So I'm going to write 12 here, parenthesis, subtract. 12 minus 12 will be 0. So it cancels out, and I bring down the 4. And then you're going to ask, how many times does 2 go into 4? You would say 2 times. Then you do 2 times 2, which is 4. And then simply subtract. My remainder is 0. So this is basically long division with numbers. Now we're going to do long division with polynomials. So it's going to be the same process as this, but it will look different because we're going to have variables, the x, with exponents, and working with a binomial divisor. So this is the dividend, this is the divisor. Right here, my 2 was the divisor, where it's just numbers. And then here we have a binomial term, which is our divisor. Alright. So let's get into working on this example, doing long division. Now before we do any kind of dividing, what you gotta check is if you have any missing terms within your dividend and your divisor. So let's take a look. Now we're always going to start with the first term. In this term it has x to the 4th. When you're checking for missing terms, you're going to make sure that all the terms are there. So by checking with the x to the 4th, we're going to count down by 1. So by counting down by 1, what comes next after the 4th is the 3rd. We have 1, so we're okay. Next, we count down, and then we should have x to the 2nd power. But I have 18x, so it went from x to the 3rd to 18x. So that's my missing term. So I'm going to rewrite this with my missing term. 12x to the 4th minus 6x to the 3rd plus 0x squared plus 18x minus 18. Now the reason I use 0 was because it was not there in the first place. So any missing terms that you have, you're going to use 0. Doesn't matter if you use plus or minus because it's just 0. 0 is a neutral number, so it doesn't matter if you have a minus or a plus in front of it. So now double check. X to the 4th, x to the 3rd, x to the 2nd, x to the 1st power, and then constant number. So I do have all my missing terms, or all my terms are here. Now to double check, you should have variables with exponents up to where it says x to the 1 power. Right after it's x to the 1 power or just x, you should have a constant number. If you don't have a constant number, then make sure to include a 0 for it. Next, I'm going to check my divisor. So 2x to the 1 power. So after that, I should have a constant number, which is minus 1. So my divisor is okay. So I got all the terms that I needed for dividing. Now I'm just going to set it up. Alright, so my divisor will go outside, and then my dividend will go on the inside. Alright, I finished setting it up for long division. Now we can actually get into dividing. Alright, so we're going to focus on our terms that I just underlined, our first term. Now, here, I'm going to write what's inside on the top of the fraction. So 12x to the 4th divided by 2x to the 1 power. So we're going to divide 12 divided by 2, that would be 6. X to the 4th divided by x to the 1, meaning we're going to subtract the exponents. It's going to be x to the 3rd. Alright, so that's where I'm going to put it up here. 6x to the 3rd, and you usually line them up to their corresponding exponents. Next, I'm going to use 6x to the 3rd, then multiply to our divisor, 2x minus 1. So, I'm going to distribute my 6x to the 3rd to the 2x and to the minus 1. 6x to the 3rd times 2x will be 12x. And then 6x to the 3rd times negative 1 will be minus 6. Sorry. So let me repeat that. 6x to the 3rd times 2x will be 12x to the 4th. Remember, when same base or multiplying, we're going to add the exponent. And then 6x to the 3rd times negative 1 is simply negative 6x to the 3rd. Alright, so I'm going to put this over here. So 12x to the 4th minus 6x to the 3rd. Put parentheses and then subtract. Alright, this is the part where you have to be extra careful. Since I have a negative outside of parentheses, I'm going to distribute to everything inside. So when I distribute, we're going to do this one step at a time. This negative to the 12x to the 4th, this becomes negative 12x to the 4th. So when I combine with 12x to the 4th and then negative 12x to the 4th, it will cancel out. Then here, I'm going to distribute again. This will become plus 0x to the 3rd. So when I combine negative 6x to the 3rd plus 6x to the 3rd, this will be 0x to the 3rd. Again, this one cancel out. When I finish combining these two, I'm going to bring down my next term. So plus 0x squared. And then I'm going to repeat the process. So I underline 0x to the 3rd. So 0x to the 3rd divided by 2x to the invisible 1 power. 0 divided by 2 will be 0. X to the 3rd divided by x to the 1 power. I'm going to subtract the exponents. So it's going to be x squared. I'm going to put plus 0x squared. And then over here, I'm going to use 0x squared. And then I'm going to multiply to my divisor, 2x minus 1. So I'm going to distribute 0x squared times 2x will be 0x to the 3rd. And again, same base, add the exponent. And then 0x squared times negative 1 will be negative 0x squared. Alright, once you get that, I'm going to put it over here. So 0x to the 3rd minus 0x squared. Parenthesis, and then subtract. So when I distribute the minus here, basically it's 0x to the 3rd minus 0x to the 3rd, cancel out. Then over here, when I distribute, it will be plus. So 0x squared plus 0x squared will be 0x squared. And then I'm going to bring down my plus 18x. Alright. I'm going to repeat the whole process again, so I'm going to erase to make more room. Now, this one, similar as the last one, so we're going to do 0x squared divided by 2x to the 1 power. 0 divided by 2 will be 0. X squared divided by x to the 1 power. Simply we're going to subtract the exponent, so x. Now if it's to the 1 power, then you don't have to write it. Just leave it as an invisible 1. Next I'm going to multiply 0x to my divisor, 2x minus 1. So 0x times 2x will be 0x squared. 0x times negative 1 will be negative 0x. So I'm going to write over here. Here, I've got, make sure to include 0x on the top. Then I'm going to bring 0x squared minus 0x. Alright, so when I distribute my negative or my minus, this will cancel out because 0x squared minus 0x squared will just be 0. Then over here, when I distribute the negative to this one inside, that will become plus. So 18x plus 0x will be 18x. And then I'm going to bring down my minus 18. Alright, so now I'm going to repeat the same process. So 18x divided by 2x. 18 divided by 2 is 9. X divided by x will be 1. So 9 times 1 is just 9, so I'm good. And then I'm going to write 9 up here since it's positive, so plus 9. So 9, I'm going to multiply to my divisor, so 2x minus 1. So 9 times 2x would be 18x. And then 9 times negative 1 would be minus 9. Alright, so I'm going to bring it over here. Parenthesis with the minus. Alright, so when I distribute the minus to this 18x, so it's going to be 18x minus 18x, so this will cancel out. Then, when I distribute the minus to this negative 9, it becomes plus 9. So, it's going to be negative 18 plus 9, so it will be negative 9. This is my remainder. So, when you finish dividing and there's no more terms for you to work in, and you have a remainder, we're going to write our answer according to this. Alright, so I'm going to write my answer right here. Now, we're going to start off with 6x to the third. Now since it's 0x squared, I don't have to write it. And then here is 0x, so I don't have to write it. What comes next is my plus 9. Alright, here's my remainder, negative 9. Since it's negative, I'm going to write minus. And then I'm going to put the number on the top of the fraction. And then for the bottom will be my divisor. So 2x minus 1. So my final answer is 6x to the third plus 9 minus 9 over 2x minus 1. So let me review. In my remainder, since it was negative 9, I basically moved the negative in front of the fraction, showing that I'm going to be subtracting. So again, when you have a remainder, you're going to have a fraction within your answer. So this is our final answer. So let me box that up. And then to review, you see how we have 0x squared and 0x? I did not include it in our final answer because you do not have to write it. But if you happen to write it in your final answer, then it doesn't mean anything different. It's just that the form looks different, but you won't get points taken off. It's okay if you do write 0x squared and 0x, but again, you don't have to if it's 0x.